Hi sports fans, this is Play It Right TV and I'm Kinito Henson.
And I'm Diane Casilla. We're very happy to give you a very special episode from the Chandra in the Fort for a very special event, the launching of the EASL draw here in the Philippines.
Well, such an amazing event, Diane, because here we have an opportunity for the Filipino basketball players to get really grilled into the game and compete for $1 million first prize if they win this championship. 8 teams, there will be 2 PBA teams, and Diane, what can be more exciting than this?
I mean, it's super exciting because I think that the teams playing against each other from different countries are just going to sharpen each other in terms of styles and just, you know, intensity. Siyempre, hindi magpapatalo yung mga taga-Korea, taga-Japan, taga-Taiwan, taga-China, tsaka siyempre, the Philippine team will want to be competitive. So, I think it's a win-win situation for everybody. So, today, the draw was made for the groupings. We'll be in Group A and Group B. So, let's have a look at who is going to be competing in Group A and who's in Group B. Okay, Mr. Matbea, first of all, very impressive Chinese, I must say.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you speak like a natural, like you've been there your whole life. So congratulations.
Only half of my life.
Oh,
So.
half of your life. Yeah, you're still very young. So wow, finally this baby is born.
Yeah.
I mean, how terrific is it?
It's really terrific, and I'm great to be here together with you, and terrific. This is a dream come true. I mean, really, I think that people only get this opportunity once in their lifetime to do something so cool, and many people don't get that opportunity, so to be here today is awesome.
You know, Kinito's been telling me about the EASL for the longest time, and how exciting it is, and you know how beautiful this basketball is going to be. Give me your comments on the draw, which is the more difficult.
I mean, honestly,
grouping.
I would say until I know who the PBA team is, I'd say Group B is pretty strong. But look, like now that there's a PBA champion, like let's see. I think it's probably pretty even, actually. Yeah.
Well, tell us, Mr. Bayer, how difficult was it to put all these teams together under this umbrella?
I would say it's very difficult. There's been many days where I wake up and I think that the obstacles are insurmountable, and you know, obviously we saw it was a very long dialogue with the PBA, but also the other leagues and FIBA to do this. You know, it really tested my own resilience, and all I can say is the only way that I can do this is by having a great team with me, and you know, having people who support me well in my life, and also just knowing that this is I'm doing the right thing, because Asian basketball deserves to have a platform like this that's on an international and global scale.
Well, EASL's inaugural season should have started in 2020. Of course, we all know what happened, the pandemic. Why didn't the pandemic deter you from moving on with this plan?
Well, the pandemic is, you know, this kind of thing happens every once in 100 years, and if you look at history, you know, people have to deal with it. We get a vaccination, and then we start to move on from it, and so that's what we've seen evolve. The vaccines came out extremely quickly, and we've been able to see life move on again, and so. I think it's just you need to go into a holding pattern and you need to shift, and so that's what EASL did during the pandemic. We learned a lot about survival and a lot about how to go from being an events company to a media company, and now we're going back to an events and media company. So, I mean, it's just a test. Life is full of tests.
What about the broadcast, like for the countries that are participating? Earlier you talked about that you're anticipating like 1.7 billion audience. Can you tell us like where and how the games are going to be watched?
Yeah, so I think we're going to have over 200 million viewers on all of the different broadcast channels across the region, and 1.7 billion fan footprint with the populations and all of the geographies we cover is huge, and I think we're going to grow by season 3 to be having over 500 million people watching our games per year. So the broadcast is going to be with top local platforms and channels in the different markets, and then we're also going to be broadcasting across the world in different regional deals. So our past events have been broadcast in over 100 geographies all around the world, and so it's going to just continue. We want to build the footprint. We really want to be the world's first globally relevant Asian sports league.
The Philippines having such a big part in it, like you were saying that the finals will be played here, how did that come about, that decision as to have the Philippines be one of the most important venues?
Well, I mean, the Philippines loves basketball the most, and so I think if we're gonna start it, we need to start it in a place where you get a warm reception, and that's the Philippines. Yeah, I mean, as they say when you get off the plane at the airport, it's always more fun in the Philippines.
I'll have to ask you an unfair question.
Yes.
How do you think the Philippine teams will fare in this inaugural season of the EASL?
I think they're gonna do great. I mean, I think every team. It's like, you know, if you watch a new player come into a league, like, you know, everyone hasn't scouted each other adequately before, and so every team is gonna have a lot of surprises. You know, some are gonna be faster, some are gonna have size, some are gonna shoot better, but that's what's exciting, and you know, I think that it's just anyone's game, and that's what makes EASL awesome.
As a parting shot, Matt, would you like to invite our Filipino viewers out there to support and watch the games of the EASL opening October 12th?
So, Philippine fans, I really thank you for this opportunity to work with the PBA and to welcome PBA into EASL. Look forward to you guys becoming EASL fans because I know you love good basketball. Thank you very much.
Salamat.
Thank you.
Salamat.
Have you learned any Filipino words?
I mean, salamat is about as far as it goes. So, and mabuhay.
As a start. As a
Salamat
start.
and
Mabuhay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All the best.
Commissioner, how exciting is this for you na the champion and runner-up will be participating in the EASL and the Philippines has such a huge part in it?
One, katulad sabi ko din na excited ang PBA kasi katulad ang FIBA Asia, sinusuportahan itong Super League. Pangalawa, nandito na yung best clubs ng Asia at nandito na yung top Asia Leagues. So, ang ganda nito, matagal na nagpaplano ang Japan, Korea at Philippines na mag-usap-usap panahon pa ni Comnoli. Walang point person pero nagawa ng EASL kaya nagpasalamat ako kay Matt.
So, the champion and the runner-up of
This
this conference will be playing.
Yes.
Sir, paano yung schedule? Paano makakasingit ang mga laro sa EASL?
Ayusin na namin yung schedules. Tulad ko na rin yung may home and away sa ibang bansa yung team na yon. Kasi pabiyahe ng Monday, magpa-practice on Tuesday, maglalaro ng Wednesday, babalik ng Thursday, magpa-practice ng Friday. So isang week hindi namin bibigyan ng schedule. So ganun ang gagawin nila. Tapos every Wednesday pag may laro dito, napag-usapan namin, third game sila. After PBA, sila maglalaro.
Wow, nice. And then, aside from the PBA playing in the EASL, yung EASL, there's going to be a team playing in the PBA. Sinong team?
Yun, Bay Area Dragons.
Yes.
Katulad na sinabi ko kanina.
Which conference, sir?
Second conference.
Okay.
Nandun, may 7-footer sila. Meron silang import na 6'10". Tapos ang gagaling ng mga Chinese.
Yeah, I heard
So,
that.
sinabi ko na makikita natin ang kalibre ng PBA at ng Hong Kong Dragons. So, sana manalo tayo sa mga Bay Area Dragons.
I heard that they're really planning to put up a very competitive team, so it's also going to be good for our players para, you know, para mahasang playing against better players.
Tama, at pwede sila mag-champion ha. At ang preparation nila for the EASL, hindi lang for PBA.
And that's good news that the finals, wala sa kung semi-finals is going to be here. No?
Finals.
Ng EASL, that's going to be in March now.
Yeah, so maganda yon kasi finals ng EASL dito, pati yung World Cup finals dito din gagawin sa atin.
Well, congratulations. Super exciting.
Salamat.
And now we've got Meta World Peace. And Meta, tell us about your involvement with EASL, how important this league is to the region.
It's very important. It's bridging the gap between just countries in Asia playing and only servicing their country. And now it's giving opportunities for the countries in our leagues to grow their audience, for the players to grow their audience, for the teams to grow their audience, selling merchandise, TV rights, more exposure, more games, more competition. And hopefully the EASL can expand. And launching it in the Philippines is big. My son's half Filipino.
That's
Juan
right.
Artes.
We know him so well.
He recently quit basketball because he's a full-time developer. So he graduated high school when he was 15 years old. And he had every school from MIT, Harvard, Yale, Stanford. So he quit basketball to go full-time development. He's an investor and a music producer, but right now he's raising money for his venture company. And you're talking about being here in Manila, for me, is a special moment because my son's half Filipino. And then it also bridged the gap with a Filipino female founder that we helped launch our company. She comes from here. Her name is Jehan Idu. She came to America, grew up poor here, and we launched a company called Easy Care Link, which is millions of dollars in revenue. And you're talking about from the Philippines, a female launching a healthcare company in a male-dominant industry in America. This is bigger than basketball, and this is why it's really important, that why I'm here. My son's half Filipino, so it's very important that I get involved in the community, and also just because I have a lot of fans here. What a coincidence.
You certainly do.
So I'm really grateful to be here, and I'm really grateful that I'm able not to only help in basketball, but help entrepreneurs. Have a dream. Just imagine being poor, walking 2 miles to school, trying to work for 50 cents, come to America, becoming a nurse, and then launching your own company as a CEO and raising millions of dollars.
That's an incredible story.
It's an incredible story, and that's the more stories that we want. We want basketball to inspire not only basketball players, but even the next up-and-coming, entrepreneurs.
Oh, Meta, are we going to be seeing you in the EASL games as the games roll out?
Well, I think I want to play, but I think I might just be a water boy. Yeah, I'm older, so I might just give water to the players.
But it's great to talk to you, and nice to see you back in Manila.
Thank you.
All right. We have with us the governor of Barangay Ginebra and the PBA Board of Governors, Mr. Alfrancis Chua, who also happens to represent the PBA in the EASL Advisory Board. Mr. Chua, how important is the PBA's participation in the EASL and your personal participation in the advisory board?
It's very important because I think Philippines itself will give color to EASL because of the fans, because ibang Pinoy, we're different. So I'm not saying that it's about basketball, but comparing to them, you can see the excitement. You can see adding Filipinos to that league, ESL, will help them, and vice versa. EASL really help the Filipinos, especially the PBA.
Mr. Chua, looking at the cast of characters in the competition of the EASL, mukhang matitindi itong mga teams na maglalaro. You've got the Korean champion and the runner-up, the Japanese champion and the runner-up, the Taiwan champion, and then also the Bay Area Dragons. Mahihirapan kaya ang PBA dito?
Mahihirapan talaga tayo kasi yan ang challenge siya, no? Makikita mo yung groupings, tinitingnan ko kanina. Yung magcha-champion, mapupunta dito sa A. So medyo magandang laban yun, no? But again, it depends on the import na dadalhin natin. Okay? Kasi pwedeng dalawang import eh. Imagine, ang lalakas na nung kalaban, they're so tough, and then they got 2 imports. So we need to get yung resident import that team, and then we should get another one to reinforce that team. I was thinking when the guy from China saying that when are they gonna join, sabi ko kailangan this is the chance na manalo tayo. Pag sumali ang China dyan, may hirapan na tayo. Diba? So I guess ito bugbugan talaga to. And what EASL doing right now, extra motivation yan sa PBA. Na kung sino magcha-champion o lalaban ng championship to go there and to get the $1 million.
And the question that everybody's asking, papasok kaya ang Barangay Ginebra sa EASL?
Sa sinabi nila kanina, pipilitin namin makapasok.
Wow! Okay, one final question for Gov. Al Chua. Yung EASL Bay Area Dragons sasali sa PBA, will this be a good test for our PBA teams?
Yeah, it's a good test sa atin. At the same time, the players who's gonna play in the Gilas, parang test sa kanila yun, di ba? Kasi I heard you got 7-footer, malalaki daw di ba? Challenge sa amin yun. Saka, this is the pride of the Filipinos. If they're gonna come here, teritoryo namin to. Bago mo kami talunin, dadaan ka sa butas ng karayom.
Okay, the one and only Governor Alfrancis Chua. Salamat po.
Sir, what can you, with your experience in the EASL, what can you tell us about the league at anong magagawa nito para sa mga teams na makakasali from the Philippines?
Well, based from my experience, EASL is a top caliber Asian tournament. And the past 2 times we joined, I saw the Japanese, the Koreans. They're top caliber.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, and also some of the coaches, we need EASL to help our basketball program. Because in the FIBA, we only have play a couple of games only. And only 12 or 14 players got exposure to play with these strong teams.
Yeah.
With EASL, we got more players to participate and more games to play.
Yeah.
So that will be a big help to our Philippine basketball standard. Because China is there, Japan is there, Korea is there, and now with Taiwan and a greater Hong Kong. So what more can you ask? It's the best league in Asia now. And I always call it EASL is a future NBA Asia.
So, sir, more motivation for your team to be either champion or runner-up, di ba?
Actually, I told my team the bonus pag nag-champion tayo sa championship series will be part of ESL. Maybe that's part why the Blackwater Bossing is doing good. Because of a first-hand info to them, this is what we have advanced of all the other teams. So I'm happy that our Blackwater Boss is doing well. And so far so good. And I just keep my fingers crossed at tuloy-tuloy sana.
Yeah, sir, what have you been doing ba para aside from giving them that extra motivation para umangat yung level nyo, ang ganda ng ano?
Well, I'm 100% supporting team at the back door. So I asked my coaches to come in. Ariel Bangorna is here. So we are very hands-on on our team now. And I just told Ariel, you see, dapat 1 and 2. Otherwise, we cannot play there. So that's a motivation.
1 or 2 daw ang Blackwater sa conference.
Hopefully.
Good luck, sir.
Yeah, thank
All
you.
the best.
Right now, we are with Marvin Espejo, one of our most distinguished player agents in the PBA, representing a lot of athletes, a lot of basketball players in the PBA, here and abroad, I might say. But Marvin's father, of course, we all know, the well-loved Danny Espiritu. And Marvin, tell us what you think about EASL and giving an opportunity for Filipino basketball players to showcase their skills. Will this mean that more countries in Asia will be pirating Filipino players once they see them play?
Well, I think pirating is really a strong word.
Okay.
But I think it's an exposure to Filipino players. Hopefully EASL can bring the globalization towards Asia, not only the Philippines, but giving that highest level of play within the region. But of course, Filipinos are very talented. So hopefully this brings something new, and hopefully brings exposure to US as well. So I think this is a good opportunity for everyone, not only Filipinos.
I think it also unifies all these Asian or East Asian leagues.
Yes.
And it'll get the commissioners to talk to each other and maybe take away these accusations of poaching and pirating. But having said that, Marvin, what do you think this can bring in terms of getting these commissioners to talk about not touching players or making sure that there is a good relationship among these different leagues?
Yeah, this will open communication lines between top level leagues within the region. Hopefully they can more or less have they can regulate, in terms of player transfers, communicate with FIBA. There are guidelines really to follow on player transfers. Basic guidelines is, of course, a player needs to be free of contract, for him to accept another offer. I think those are the basic guidelines that each league or team would need to follow to be respectful of each leagues. So hopefully this will open communication lines with each league, then will therefore evolve into something bigger.
Is it alarming when you hear reports of several collegiate players going overseas instead of continuing their collegiate careers in the Philippines?
Initially, it's an alarming, thing for us. It's a natural reaction, because it's something new. But I think towards, as we move forward, eventually we would adapt into something. This would be a regular thing. I think bottom line, if players from college would want to be a professional player, it's always financial considerations to consider. So I think the PBA, it's whether if that player wants to be professional within his country or elsewhere, and maybe in the NBA, maybe this league can help us produce our first NBA player.
Well, finally, before we let you go, Marvin, can you tell our viewers out there which of the PBA players right now are you managing?
Well, the more popular ones, of course, we have Japet Aguilar, we have Kiefer Ravena, we have Matthew Wright, maybe 30 players or more currently active.
Well, congratulations, Marvin. And we know how much you care for the players, that you take care of them and make sure that their PBA careers will be fruitful and successful. Thank you, Marvin.
Thank you.
And that was it. The draw has been made, and you heard it from a lot of the personalities who are present at the draw. Matt Bayer, such a dynamic person.
I know, I love him already. He's just so exciting and so young, so full of energy.
And Diane, we also got to hear from Meta World Peace, the commissioner of the PBA, Willie Marshall, the governor and the member of the EASL Advisory Board, Mr. Alfrancis, even a player agent, Marvin Espejo. And you got to talk to Mr. Josel Dossi, the CEO of Blackwater, who really had a very early presence in the infancy days of the EASL.
Yeah, and so for now, this is the draw. As you saw, there are 8 teams, but from what I anticipate, because of the exciting basketball that's going to be seen and the incredible prize money, Finito, I think this roster is just going to grow and grow. More and more teams are going to want to join the EASL. But I have to ask you, what do you think of the group phase, Finito?
Yeah, I don't know. The PBA champion will be here.
Sino kaya yun?
The Taiwan champion, Taipei Fubon Braves, is also in this group. The other side, you've got the Korean champion, you've got the Japanese champion. I don't know, I think it's pretty much balanced. Whichever group you land in or you landed in, you're in for a lot of heavy competition. And Diane, in answer to your question about the growth of the EASL, in 2 years, they will be growing from 8 teams to 16 teams. And then from then on, I don't know, it's going to be exponential growth. You can see that this league is here to stay. And welcome to every Filipino fan to the EASL.
All right, you heard it. First game is going to be October. By March, we're going to find out who wins the $1 million. So for sure, we're going to have more stories and episodes on Play It Right TV about the EASL. So stay tuned for that. I'm Diane Castillejo.
And I'm Kinito Henson. And don't forget, like and subscribe. Hit that bell button for any notifications. We also have to thank our sponsors, Sona Corporation, A6, Molten Basketballs, Because of Volleyballs, Mueller Accessories and Medical Products, and all that apparel and footwear of Basics, the best in the business.
For sure, check out their items on playitright.com. Until next time.